well, it's still Pride Month 2020. I'm still trying to decide if I'm gonna post something on my blog. I don't know. I'm so conflicted. I've been recording a lot of audio, even writing some stuff, drawing some stuff. And it's just hard to know, like, okay, do I want to really, like, open up a can of worms? Especially during this time with so many things already going on. But, also it keeps coming up, in my life. Different topics keep kind of coming up in my life. More and more and more and more and more. So part of me finds that when I'm like, what do you call it? When I'm like, part of me finds that when I'm like, kind of backed into a corner, I guess, or at a time like this, like, and I have a lot on my mind, part of me is like, okay, share it, and then the other part of me is like, do not share it, stuff it down kind of attitude. But it's been coming up a lot lately in my life, the concept of gender, and just kind of like what is it really, because like a lot of us believe, that we have like this, shell, right? And your gender isn't just your shell, it's not just your haircut or your hairstyle or your clothing preferences from which side of the aisle you want to shop on, or your hobbies or your body hair, it's, or even like the way you walk and the way you talk, and your comfort with sensitivity and your comfort with aggression and your comfort with, different things. Is it a comfort thing? It's like, it's really hard to describe. So like, I was wondering, I was trying to think back, like, what's my earliest memory, or one of my earlier memories of like gender related things, like when I started like noticing something, and what's my kind of a more recent experience, what would be something more recent, and I don't really think about a lot of like positive related things when it comes to thinking about gender. Like, I don't really know. I mean, I don't know when my earliest memory was. I would say as far as clothing and things, I was always kind of dressed in like girly clothes. And, my mom always makes comments like, oh, you're the way you are because I always wore pants or something. But I do remember my mom wearing lipstick and dresses and things. Like, I never really took into account that she wears jeans a lot or something. I mean, like, she does, but I mean, I wouldn't consider her like even masculine presenting. She's just, I don't know, I would say she's pretty effeminate. Like, not like too girly, but she does makeup and hair and dresses, and was kind of more comfortable talking about things like like always telling me like, oh, you would wear pumps to work, or like, like trying to like dress me for church and things like that, and talking to me about like hair styling and about like bras and things like that. Like, I can remember some things like when it was before I was driving. I don't know how old I was, but it was before ninth it was before 9th grade. It was before, I want to say it was maybe 5th grade or 4th grade or so. I remember I still had I've always kind of had short hair, but I had short hair that was like, I'd washed it one day, and I think it was, I think it had like a relaxer in it, and so I remember was just standing in front of, like, we had, like, a pretty big, in my recollection, it was a huge mirror that went from, like, nearly the floor to, like, the top of one of the, like, towel cabinets in the bathroom, and I think it was pretty tall. I want to say it was at least 5 feet tall, and I was shorter than that, standing in front of the mirror after getting out of a shower, didn't have any clothes on, and kind of had my hair just kind of, like, almost looked like Mowgli from the Jungle Book, if you want to put it that way. Like, my, I, like, kind of, like, scrawny, kind of hair, kind of parted almost down the middle, but just kind of, like, wild on the sides, and, I'm a black person, and my hair is usually pretty natural, so even when it gets a relaxer in it, it kind of goes back to, like, it slowly reverts back to, like, its natural state. And so I think, or maybe just it grows out, I don't know exactly what happens, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but basically, I started noticing that I liked the way that looked, and that was, like, the first time I remember looking in the mirror and being like, oh, like, I like this person that I see, that looks like this, you know what I mean? And, there were certain things like that I kind of, like, liked, but then, like, nobody around me was, like, promoting it or asking me my perspective on it or anything, right? And then, I started, I'd say, nearly, like, third grade, fourth grade maybe. What grade was it? Third grade, fourth grade. I can remember by the pictures I took in school. Definitely by 7th grade, 5th grade, I was completely, like, no longer interested in wearing dresses. I remember having to wear them at chapel day, so I think we got uniforms in either 5th grade or 6th grade, because I think my 3rd and 4th grade years was when I started at private school, 3rd grade, and then 3rd and 4th, I think we just had, like, casual clothing. Like, there was somewhat of a dress code, like, no violence and no gang attire, and, like, just the normal kind of stuff that you see, like, in a school brochure. And then, but I think 5th grade or so, we started having uniforms, and on Fridays, like, the females that were, like, kindergarten through, like, I think it was 6th grade, had to wear a jumper. So it was, like, this plaid jumper, and the boys had to wear, like, a tie, and we all freaking grumbled. And I remember there was this friend of mine, she later became a friend, but, earlier on, I always kind of had, like, I don't know if I would call it a crush, but it was definitely an interest in her, because she was very, like, masculine presenting, athletic, strong. She was Samoan background, part of the church. I don't think her parents were part of the church, but she was known to be, like, better than the boys at stuff, like, she was one of those kind of females, and she was tall. She wasn't, like, skinny, but she was, when we were in school together, we all kind of blew up after, when we were older, after college and after high school and stuff, but, like, she was pretty fit, and she was, like, really, really fit, like, and I remember she was just, like, aggressive, playing soccer, and I remember I kind of cursed at her once, and I literally thought she was gonna end me. Like, I remember, like, we were on this losing team that sucked so bad, and, like, we lost a really bad game, and I remember, like, I never really knew what to say, I was so awkward, but we were on the same team, and I never got any playing time, and she always got playing time, but we lost this game, and we were all kind of devastated. It wasn't even a final or anything, and I remember seeing her passing by, like, where the lockers were, where we used to play sports, and I was like, hey, what's up? And she was like, or how are you, or whatever. And I was like, no, I said that in passing, and she was like, how do you think I am? Like, just in a really mean kind of tone. And I was just like, fuck you then, like, kind of under my breath. And I was just like, I'm sure that's the last thing I'm ever gonna say. And I don't think she heard me, and if she did, it hurt my feelings, though. I was like, fuck, like, she was being really mean to me. But otherwise, she was always pretty cool to me, like when it came to like playing guitar and, talking about guys or whatever. We used to talk about penises for some reason, but we were an age where that's what we talk about. But anyways, summer camp memories and all that kind of thing. And unfortunately, she's no longer living. She committed suicide. I don't remember what year, but not that long ago, honestly. When I was in grad school still, so I think it was like my second year into grad school. So yeah, that was a tough blow. But I really looked up to her. And, all that's coming back. But, I mean, the main reason why I mentioned her was because, those skirts, those dresses we had to wear, I think she had one, too. And I remember her tucking it, like, she would always play basketball. And Fridays, I think, were, like, the best games of basketball for some reason. I think we had a shorter day. I can't remember what it was, but it was, like, I think Fridays, for some reason, lunch was, like, I don't know. I don't remember what it was, but, like, we all went hard on sports on Fridays. But when we started having to wear chapel clothes on Fridays, it really sucked because we couldn't really play sports like we were because the boys were wearing ties, but they could take it off. They never told the boys, you have to wear your tie all day long. But when it came to the girls, it was like we had these stupid skirts and dresses and things. And I remember her tucking it in. She wore shorts underneath the dress and tucked it into her uniform shorts and played basketball. And nobody said anything. They were just like, I think at first they told her, you can't not have the uniform, but then I think she tucked it into her shorts and everybody's like, that's cool, because she still had her dress on, but it was, it was a jumper, so like it was like a plaid kind of like vest looking thing up top connected to the skirt part at the bottom, and she just tucked in the skirt to some shorts and just went and played. But things like that where I was like, she's badass, but I mean, it was stuff like that I was like, how cool, like I never did that because in my mind I was like, that's taking it a step in the direction that I would get kind of like teased for something like that, or someone would say something. But part of me was like, I don't want to wear the stupid dress, and I'd much rather tuck it into my shorts than wear it just fully as it is, and I'd much rather not wear it than have to wear it all day on a Friday or ever, any kind of dresses. I never, for some reason at a certain age, I just realized I don't like dresses. I don't know what age that was though. I feel like I didn't have many opinions about it when I was a kid, like as far as like my own identity and sense of self, and I don't know where it came from. But I do remember that kind of Mowgli moment, in quotes, Mowgli moment that I had in the mirror. I remember that very strongly, and I never really told anybody about it, but I mean, that is definitely a moment I remember. And then I remember, about those skirts and dresses. So by that age, I already didn't want to wear them. And then I think by 8th grade, you had to wear a skirt, so it was a plaid skirt. But, the uniforms were very, like, at first you had to buy it from this company called Dennis Uniforms or something like that, and they were like all the same uniform. And then I think so at the very beginning we all bought those for our first sets of uniforms. Our parents all went to that store, and then I guess the school made it so that you can wear a similar type of clothing as long as it fits the dress code. So I think we had to have the Peter Pan cut necks on our I don't know what they're called, on our blouses. They were like I don't know how you would even describe it. It was kind of like a dress shirt type of button down blouse with a Peter Pan collar, or you could wear a short sleeve polo or a long sleeve polo, certain colors, white, yellow, navy blue, and dark green. It had to be a certain dark green. I don't remember. Something like that. And then for bottoms, you could wear khaki pants or navy blue pants. I think those were the only options you had. Or shorts. And for girls, the shorts had to be 2 inches above your knee or longer. And the girls' shorts had they were cuffed. So those were kind of like the differences with the genders. Like I said, with the chapel dress, with male or female attire. There was nothing really in between, but, we were, like, I never saw any of the boys wearing dresses, but I did see girls that never really wore those dresses or skirts, except for chapel day. So that's something that came up. And I'd say another thing that I noticed, was, so by that time I was clearly not wanting to wear dresses, but I still went to church every Saturday and was still involved with family and going to weddings and things. And so for those reasons, I was often, because a lot of my cousins are like at least like 20, nearly like 15, 20 years older than me on my dad's side. And so a lot of them were starting to get married, and I have a lot of cousins. And so they were like in their 20s and 30s and getting married and stuff. And so we would talk and go to their weddings and stuff like that, but that was something that came up with us. But almost any time when I didn't have to wear a dress, I wouldn't wear one. And only in this year, I'd say 2020, dude, I went to a wedding, but I feel like it was in like June. So maybe in 2019 then, because I think I went to 2 weddings last year, and one of them was one of my trans friends marrying one of my lesbian friends, and then the other one was a couple that I know, my best friend's younger brother and his fiance got married. Those are the only 2 weddings that I remember wearing chinos. I didn't have dress shoes, but I had a button up. Let me see. I wore different button ups both times. I wore the same green chinos both times. Yeah, but similar types of button downs, short sleeves. But the one, the queer wedding was more of a, what am I trying to say here? So they had, what am I trying to say? So the queer wedding was, it was a 50s style kind of thing. And so there were some greaser looks and some other, I don't know what you call them, like those, rockabilly type looking people around. And so, me not wearing a traditional outfit didn't really stand out. And plus with some of the other people there, that weren't, that were like queer people and, sexuality queer, gender queer, whatever it may be, they were, not traditionally dressed in gendered clothing either. So we were all kind of like there, it wasn't a huge wedding, but it was like, it was an okay size. Like, it was a big enough size. It was a good size, but, yeah, so there's that. And then, there's, a lot of just the church related stuff, honestly. Like, I remember being in, let me see, I had some shorts from Urban Outfitters, or Miller's Outpost, I think it was Miller's Outpost, or Urban Outfitters, I can't remember which one, but they were some of my favorite blue shorts. I'd wear them all the freaking time. They were cargos, but they had these cool, like, neon, to me, they were cool little, like, neon things, and I used to wear, like, skater shirts, and, I had, like, hair, like, kind of down to, like, my collar, but it was just kind of, like, I don't know if it was short then or longer, would be down to my collar. Can't remember. But, I remember, I was going to go into the bathroom when we were going to go play laser tag at, like, the laser tag place near Gable House Bowl. And I was going in the bathroom, and one of the staff was like, excuse me, like, trying to stop me, because because she thought I was a boy going into the girls' bathroom, and I turned around and she was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." And one of my friends, or whatever you want, acquaintances, Josh, he was one of the skater boys, and he was one of those obnoxious kids that kind of like, whenever something happened, he'd really like to point it out. So he was like, "She thought you were a boy. She thought you were a boy." And then I remember when I started working with kids, and like, I don't know what grade I was in. I was in like, what grade was I freaking in? So, let me see. I was in, I started, I was in college. Because I don't think I worked that, like, I did a lot of volunteering in high school, but I don't think I had a paid job. When I was like 14, I did like summer jobs and stuff like that, and like I did some work on like Sundays and stuff like that, but I never did like a paid like job like that too much. So I do remember having a paid job in college for extra money. And while I was at community college, I think I was going to I was working at the school where I used to go to school, where we had those uniforms and everything, and I got hired on as like a support staff for like the playground and like different stuff like that. So I had a playground, and I I would watch and supervise kids on the playground, make sure they don't get hurt, or report it if they do, and like keep an eye on them. And there were a lot of us, and I remember a lot of us my age that like went to the same church that was part of the the school was part of that church. It was an Adventist school, Adventist church. And I remember a lot of the kids would always ask me, like, "Oh, like, are you a girl or a boy? Are you a girl or a boy?" And I remember back then, like, I don't remember what I would wear to work, but I did wear, like, work clothing. But there was a certain, like, I didn't wear skirts, but I would wear, like, female blouses, like, those kind of, like, the kind that you would wear to, like, high school kind of stuff. I still kind of had that kind of high schooler look, I was still in pretty great shape. And so, my clothing, I was not that like it matters what size your clothes are really, but my clothing was in like, I think I would wear I was wearing like about a size 8 up until like my second year of grad school almost. That's when I started gaining a lot of weight, but I wore like a size 8 from like, I went from like a 6 to an 8. And I coasted at an 8 from like probably like 10th grade or so, or 9th grade through college pretty much, I think. But yeah, so there's that. And then like I just remember things when I was younger, like hitting puberty or about to do so. And I remember like my mom would always be telling me like, like, you need to wear a bra and all this kind of stuff. And I was still like a flat-chested kid, and like I was like, I don't know how old I was, but she was buying them for me, and I would like never wear them. Like, she would be like, "You need to wear them," and I just wouldn't. I just would like keep them in the drawer. And then I think I started wearing them to church, but I can't remember. But I remember like, I want to say I started finally wearing them in like 8th grade. I told myself when I start going to school, or maybe 7th grade. I think 7th grade, because I think I said when I start going to school in 8th grade, that's when you start having PE, where you have to like dress down for PE, because we actually had like legit like PE. It wasn't just like go play with your friends. It was like we're doing like running tests and like mile tests and like all those presidential fitness tests and like sports and like actually playing like organized sports and learning skills, and like what we would run a mile a day at almost minimum. And we had PE 4 days a week in those grades and up, but at 7th grade and up. But I remember being in going into 7th grade from 6th grade and thinking, shoot, I'm gonna have to dress down in the locker room, so I'm gonna have to start wearing a bra, because I can't just be like around all these other people. And I remember, I would do it. I would change, in the locker room or whatever. And like, I wasn't like thrilled about it, but I would do it. And, I'd already started getting a period at that time. So it was just like, it was not fun for me. Like, I think I don't remember what year it was. Never mind, I don't even want to talk about that. But anyways, yeah, I mean, those are kind of like early memories when it comes to like feminine related things, where it's like, I noticed, that this is something that's not going to go away. Like, I do remember thinking, though, that I was going to outgrow a lot of things. So I do remember thinking, when I'm in high school or when I'm in junior high, I'm not going to feel this way. Somehow I'll just want to wear dresses all of a sudden. Or when I'm in, high school, I'm going to not feel this way. And, when I'm in college, I would have these ideas about, like, when I'm actually, like, I'm this way because I'm not fully, like, a woman and I'm not fully, like, an adult. So that's why I'm the way that I am. That's what that was kind of the mindset that I had around, gender and, like, how I identified with just things like that, gender related things. I kind of thought, like, I would outgrow it, or that I'm not, like, mature enough or something. But now, I'm like 36 and, I've got a webpage called Tomboy Official. It's like tomboy.com was taken, so I'm at Tomboy Official, and it's like, wow, like, I don't even know what to say sometimes. I'm just like, no one ever even talks about it. It was just, at least in my upbringing, until like let me see. None of this was ever normalized in any way. I always got the impression that it, like, there's something off about it, even from my own parents. I'm pretty sure at the last wedding I went to, like, 2 years ago, my dad told my mom to talk to me to make sure I don't embarrass the family by wearing the clothes that I normally wear, and to make me wear a dress and make sure it looks good and all this kind of stuff. And, I literally had to sneak freaking edibles to freaking Georgia, through TSA, marijuana edibles, so that I could freaking, like, cope with being at a family wedding, because I knew, not only am I flying across the country, but I'm going to be stuck with my family. I didn't really have any money to be, like, having my own hotel, renting my own car, going and doing my own thing. I was kind of stuck, with them feeding me every meal, because it was, like, last second, too. Like, so they had to feed me every meal and pay for the clothes I was going to wear and pay for the transportation, and I was, like, bumming rides with them to all the different parts of the events and all the little sightseeing around town and being with the family all freaking day. I couldn't even get my own room, and I was sharing with a random couple family members that I met while we were there, and I didn't even know them until we were there. So it's like, yeah, at least I have my own bed, but oh my gosh, so yeah, there's that. That kind of stuff comes up. But that was just a couple years ago. I think last year, because we're already in June, so I want to say it was like last summer or so. I remember being so pissed off because, like, I did my laundry, but I threw it in the dryer and went, like, maybe to the gym or wherever, I was at my family's house, my folks' place, and, like, I take my laundry there, stay there, still have a bedroom there at my family's house and everything. It's all of our place, I feel like I could still say it's mine, but I don't own it. They pay for it, but I keep my bedroom there and I live outside of the house. But, I feel welcome there. But, I remember, doing laundry and going out or doing something, or maybe I kept it there overnight or something, and I remember my mom, like, it's not out of the norm for her to either take out my clothes, put them in a basket, take them out, put them on my bed or my sister's bed or on the couch or on the chair or something. And different people need the machine, and I'm, like, slow and forget, and, like, I'm tired, and I'm like, whatever. Like, if no one's in a rush to use it, I don't mind leaving my stuff in the dryer. But I guess she took it out and folded it, and I was okay with it till I realized, like, shoot, she folded, like, everything, including, like, my boy briefs and my boy shorts and my non-traditional underwear that I was like, that's a little close to home, that maybe I didn't really want my mom to know, that like, surprise, that's kind of what I wear sometimes. Like, I would say I'm not comfortable with it all the time for myself. Like, I like the way it looks on me, but there are some times where I'd rather, okay, so I'd put it this way. I have a range, this might be TMI. I have a range of underwear from very feminine, like, they're not really lacy, but they're like classic, like something you'd find like at Target in a package kind of underwear, the ones with like the size letter and the number to tell you what the size is or whatever, like S5 or whatever. I don't know, that's small, I don't really wear that size, but yeah, there's like a range of like the feminine ones to like the masculine ones that are actually from like the male section of the store. So this is how I would describe it to you. I don't really have, I mean, unless I'm counting like old underwear, like, you know how you have those, I don't know, maybe I'm the only one that doesn't really throw them out that often, but I mean, the old ones that are like, they're the ones that you don't really wear, but you have them in case like you get that deep into like not doing laundry, that you like, those are like the extra underwear that you dig out of the bottom of the drawer, that like they're clean and they're available, but it's like, I never wear these because or maybe you'll like sleep in them if you're like by yourself or something, but you wouldn't want somebody to like see you in them, or you wouldn't want to show yourself to somebody with those on. They're not like presentable underwear, they're just underwear that are clean, but they're out of your style and out of probably the decade or whatever, or half of the decade or whatever, right? So I don't know if I'm in the rare percentage of people maybe that do that, but at least I don't really re-wear dirty underwear. I'd rather just have a bunch of them, but there are the ones that I actually wear on a day-to-day, and then there are the ones that are just like the old ones. So I would say, yeah, on occasion when I'm like, okay, I don't want to wear my nicer ones because I cleaned like a week's worth, and so I have enough for work, but maybe I'll wear these other ones like to bed at night, because like I'm sleeping and who cares. Or when I'm working out, if I don't want to be changing my underwear like however many times a day, because I'd say I usually wear the same underwear at work. I don't change my underwear at work, but I do change my underwear when I get home, and my socks too, at the very, very least. I usually change all my clothes, but I mean, and socks, underwear, whatever I'm wearing as a shirt, whatever I'm wearing as pants, I'll change it. And usually I'm not using a bra at home, if I don't have to, but I live with people, so, if I'm out of my room, I'll usually at least put a sweater on or something over, so it's like, whatever, sometimes I don't, but, yeah, so there's that. And so, yeah, I have a range of underwear that are from, like, they're female underwear that are boy cut, so, like, they don't have the, like, pocket for the guys, genitalia. They don't have that pocket, like, I don't know what you call it, the one that people pee out of, like, that, flap, the fly. They don't have, like, a fly on them. I think I have had, like, boxers in the past when, like, TLC was popular, and, like, back in the 90s with, like, grunge bands and stuff, and some girls were wearing, like, boxers kind of sticking out of their, like, baggy pants, or like out of the top of your like overalls or whatever, and I kind of thought it was like cool, and so I think I did buy them, but I didn't find them comfortable, just they rub and I didn't like that. But I remember I stole a pair of my older cousins on briefs, boxer shorts. They were by the Dove company, and they were silky, and they were kind of like, not a light blue, but like a kind of like an oceanish blue, teal kind of color with white polka dots. And I saw those and I was like, dude, I love these. And like, she left them when she moved out of state after she was living with us for a little bit. And I just washed them and took them, because I was like, those were the first things that I was like, I like these. And those were like my favorite underwear for like, I don't know, they held up for a freaking long time, because I remember I had them until I got my first period, and then past that. So I had them for a long time. They were like my absolute favorite underwear, honestly. Oh my god. And then I forgot about that. And then, but yeah, I would say I like female underwear for the fit. I mean, I don't really like where they put the seams. I don't really like how they ride, like, in weird low places. And I don't like how the stitching isn't strong. I feel like female underwear tends to rip easily, and it's maybe because I keep things for way too long, but I feel like, you know, when they put, you know, the thing that I like about the boy short look or the boy underwear look is the waistband. I like that it's a thicker waistband. It's not the thin one with the little ruffles on it. It's a thicker waistband. So I like the thicker waistband, but I noticed they do the thicker waistband. They don't like sew it on too strongly, and they still use like flimsier material for females underwear than they do for males. They use like thinner, more sheer kind of underwear material versus the guys' ones that are kind of just thick cloth. Like, not all of them, but I'm just saying, in comparison, women's underwear are far thinner than men's, in comparison, in general, if you just look overall. And then there's the thin, and it might be because women's skin might be more sensitive. I'm not too sure about that, but that might be the reason why. Because I feel like the cloth they make it out of is softer too. Like, I feel like guys' underwear can rub. It can be a little, like aggressive. Like, I'm talking, like, if you look at, like, the cheaper underwear, like Target, Walmart kind of stuff. I've ordered some stuff online that I like. Like, I don't know if these companies exist, but like B2 Body. There's stuff by Tomboy X that I've never purchased, but I plan on like buying like everything that they've ever made. If I can afford it, I want to just buy every underwear that they've ever created. Like, I really like their styles. I really like Ash Hardell on YouTube for representing like different sorts of clothing, especially like undergarments that people can wear that, you know, all of us fit into these categories. And underwear tends to be a very gender category. Same with wedding attire and like, you know, what do you call that? Like formal wear. There's not like a lot of in between. Especially if you're talking really traditional people. But I've said this multiple times in multiple clips that I've recorded that, you know, at that wedding I went to in Georgia, the most affirming comment somebody gave me, well, this cousin has said another affirming thing to me too, but, you know, she said, the first thing she ever said to me that was pretty affirming was when my dad was like, I'm going to take you guys to the mall, you guys can buy some perfumes. And I think I went with her, I can't remember if my sister went, and we went like to Macy's or somewhere, and there were some nice things, like it was really nice, high quality, high-end stuff, obviously, right? Like makeup and, you know, jewelry and, you know, like that kind of thing, right? But we were there for like perfumes, and I remember I was like, I don't really want any perfume. And my dad was like, pick something out. And he used to always buy me these perfume kits and stuff. They were nice. There was a Paris Hilton one that I really liked that smelled like cotton candy. And I used to wear it to church. And I'm sure it was like really stinky to other people. But I liked it. There's something about that smell that I don't mind. But I don't like, I've had like Chanel perfumes. I don't know the name of them or anything. But it made me, I feel like I smelled like an old woman. Like, I've had other like nice perfumes because my dad likes buying us perfumes, and he used to buy like Victoria's Secret ones. I remember there was a men's collection one that I bought for like a couple guy friends of mine that liked that Victoria's Secret perfume, and there's stuff about Victoria's Secret that I like too, like clothing wise. But I mean, I like their underwear actually a lot, like not the lacy ones for myself, but I kind of like that they're like, it's a good quality. So yeah, I like their stuff. It's comfortable, fits well, it doesn't always rub weird and stuff. Like, I feel like the cheaper stuff you end up buying, like the seams are in the wrong spot, you know, it wears really quick and falls apart, the cloth isn't like comfortable, like the quality might not always be there, but I mean, sometimes it is, like, and sometimes you won't notice the difference, honestly, until you buy something more expensive and you're like, oh wow, I noticed. But yeah, there's that kind of stuff. But yeah, I was really kind of upset about that whole situation with my mom folding my underwear. And I remember driving all the way, like, 2 hours home on a Sunday because I was working on Monday and I was just up there for the weekend. And I was like, I think I was in tears. I can't remember, but I just felt so, like, I don't know what the word was. It wasn't defeated. I don't know what it was. But I think, I don't know. I think, so I feel like the buying me dresses and all that kind of stuff has kind of stopped. I mean, thank God. I think there's a lot of stuff that, like, other than that wedding situation, I've felt, for the most part, not that they get me, but that they just kind of leave me be. Like, they don't get it, but they're like, I'm not really gonna do or say anything, right? And, that same cousin at the wedding, like, she was like, oh, you look nice, but she was like, she said something like, I thought you'd be wearing like a suit or something, or a nice sweater. And I was like, yeah, I can't, like, because of my parents, like, they kind of made a big fuss about it. Like, I didn't say all that, but I was like, I have to, like, appease the parents, you know what I mean? I kind of just made a quick comment, and she didn't really say anything. And then I remember having to share a bed with her, too, that night, or the last night I was there, whatever night that was. And I remember, I guess she put a pillow between us, but maybe she just didn't want to put it on the floor. I don't know. But it wasn't between us in a way that was like, I'm suspicious of you. It was just like between us, like, maybe she threw it there, because it was like on top of the blankets. When I woke up, I noticed it. And I was all the way on the right side of the bed. Like, I don't know. I was kind of like, is this to separate us, or are you just throwing it there, Like, or maybe we don't know each other that good, in all honesty. But I never try to, I don't know. That's gross. I don't even want to think about it. But, yeah, that same cousin also told me, what did she tell me? Yeah, about the perfume and stuff. And I remember I went over and bought, a ginger lotion. I think it was a ginger lotion and a ginger soap, two bottles, and it was by this natural brand that, like, I really liked that kind of stuff. It was really nice, and it smelled really good, and I really liked it, and, everyone was saying how much they liked it too. And there are a lot of scents that I like, and I've talked to some guy friends of mine too that, they'll wear skinny jeans, or they like some female clothing because of the way it fits. And I don't know, they're David Bowie friends and fans, and like they like certain like lotions, like those pink kind of like flowery or like candy like smelling female lotions. They like to wear them, and I mean, I respect that, I can't tell them not to do it, but I just find that interesting too, that like I was able to talk to them about that kind of stuff. But yeah, well, anyways, this is a lot longer than I thought it would be. So I'm gonna quit recording because it's almost been an hour again. But these are some of my thoughts about, just gender related experiences that I've had. I mean, I've dated people of all kind of genders, in all honesty. And, I think if it wasn't for just the way society, at least my society, my friends, my family, the comments they already make about friends that I have, or even in society, how people, view those people, who are like maybe gender non-conforming, or, trans people. I mean, if they're just like non-cis or whatever they may be, like, I feel like not like non-cisgender people, like that. I don't know. I don't know how to describe this. It's not that I don't like them or don't want to date them. It's not anything about them. It's basically, it's hard for me to deal with society. It's hard for me to be out somewhere on a date and have someone treating my date like shit, or everybody looking and laughing and snickering and pointing, or people allowing their children to run up in front of this person while we're walking in the mall and stare, point, laugh, and then go walk right behind us when we already know you're walking behind us, you know, and they don't even tell their kid anything. There's no conversation, there's no talk, there's no nothing. And being even in a restaurant, in a diner, in such close quarters to people who can like stare and look, and waiters and waitresses, and even at a movie theater, you know, you want to like kiss a person or something, it's like you can't even kiss, you know, or like hold hands without feeling like, oh shit, like someone's gonna kill us, you know, or even go into a store and like look at the makeup that's there, you know. I feel like, you know, a person who identifies as maybe like a trans female and they're not quote unquote passing looking, or whatever the fuck that means, but you know, they don't look like they're passing. I feel like people feel like they can treat someone who doesn't look like they're passing any way that they want, you know. I feel like if someone is passing looking, I don't know what other word to use, but if someone looks like they would be passing, or if they, you know, are just like a tomboy or a tomgirl kind of thing, you know, those kind of people, I think they're maybe more tolerated, but maybe not. I would say maybe like a passing trans person is not fully tolerated. And then, you know, like I was watching this documentary talking about shows where about like non-binary people or genderqueer people, and the only representation so far is in Billions. There's a little tiny bit of representation in the L Word, Generation Q, and also the initial one, you know, people when they think about Shane McCutcheon or Ruby Rose, and you know how they say like straight girls getting confused and stuff, like people that make straight girls confused or whatever comment it is that they say. But oh man, I can't even begin to think or talk about or wrap my head around kind of my own thinking when it comes to different sorts of topics surrounding sexuality. Cause I mean it's an important thing. Like sexuality is an important thing. Gender is an important thing. They're not always very much related. And you know, it's just hard, you know. I find it just hard. Like I don't even know where I was going with that, but basically I do find it just hard, you know, when it comes to like the dating world, cuz you know, I love those people, you know. I've been in love with people like that and loved them, and it's fine, you know, when we're home or when we're at their home or when we're hanging out in a place like in the car down the street in the parking lot alone, or you know, we have our own little private bonfire, you know, where you know you can park on the beach and nobody really sees you get in and out of the car because they're a little too far away, and nobody's coming to your fire because they're not invited, so you're kind of chilling there together, and especially if it's night or whatever. But it's like there's so much that like you can't simply easily calmly do, such as using the bathroom, or going into certain stores or into a dressing room to try some clothing on, or even shopping in a certain section. I mean, I know how I get looked at. I mean, now that I'm older, and I feel like now that I'm not in my 20s anymore, and I don't look like a teenager, and I'm in my 30s, mid-30s, I think it's okay being out in a store shopping in a men's clothing section. And I say men's and female and all that, like, just because it's just, right now, it's easier to say, you know, I'm talking to myself, you know, in these recordings. I'm just talking. You know, I'm not here to offend anybody or convince anybody or convert anybody or, you know, shame anybody or make anybody think anything or feel any sort of way. I'm just venting into an audio journal and seeing if I'm going to post it. But I mean, basically, I don't know. It's a frustrating world to try to live in, to date people that, you know, you connect on a great level together and you feel like you should be there together with each other at that place and time for that time period, and then the world around you just kind of fucks it up. And I'm just like, how do I, you know, not let that happen, you know, because it really impacts, you know, like, I don't know, like, do I keep bringing it up to the person where it's like, this bothered me, that bothered me, like, did this bother you, did that bother you? And it's like, I don't want to be like a downer and be all like, everything affects me negatively, you know, because I am a really sensitive person, so a lot of things do affect me negatively and positively, you know, but negatively too. And it's like, I don't know, I'm really comfortable dating people, you know, on my own personal level. I'm comfortable dating people that aren't, like, you know, on the binary of the gender, you know. I'm cool with it. Like, it works for me in my mind. It's just like, cool, I get you, you're human, and I'm not gonna try to erase, like, your, you know, attachment to masculine or feminine things about yourself, or the lack of, or the absence of masculine or feminine things. And not that masculine or feminine or lack of, or not having that, or not wanting that, or not sensing that is better or worse. None of that's better or worse than the other. I'm not judging it, basically, is what I'm trying to say. I recognize it and I notice it, and I can switch my mind between, you know, being the rigid, thinking this is what male is in society and this is what female is in society, and it's a survival thing. Like, I have to know that. I have to recognize this thing is going to get me ridiculed more than that other thing, even if this thing is what resonates with me naturally more than that other thing. I have to make a decision of when and where to do that other thing, or when and where to not do that other thing. That was very vague, but, you know, that could go for anything from, like, wearing a dress to, like, wearing certain dress shoes to wearing more fitted feminine pants that fit me in a way that's comfortable for me, shopping in the female section, but wearing pants that fit me a little more masculinely, or shopping in the guys section and wearing pants that are clearly men's pants or shorts or whatever, and they don't fit me as well, but I feel great in them. Because I know they're not from the female section, so it's like there's something about that too. But it's just the comfort and feeling, like, okay with myself. And there are a couple shirts that I've purchased that I'm like, dude, like, I've gotten compliments on almost every single one of them. And up until that point, I mean, not from every person, but up until that point, I've never really even gotten complimented on my clothing. But it's like, I have this white t-shirt with these black spots that I like. I have this kind of almost pride looking, like, navy blue shirt with, like, these stripes that people are like, oh, I love the colors, or I like those stripes, how they're blurry, or I like that shirt, it reminds me of pride, or like whatever. Or, you know, I have this Hawaiian shirt that I got that people like. I have this black shirt with these little orange specks that people have liked. I have this I've only worn this other light blue shirt once. I don't think anybody said anything, but I've only worn it once on an interview. I have another shirt, it's like black with flowers that people liked. I had another shirt that's white with blue flowers that people liked. You know, some girls, you know, they'll play with the cuffs on my shirt, or like, You know, like some other, I have this black shirt with these pink flowers that my friends liked, and like, you know, the chinos that I wear my friends liked, and it's like those are my favorite clothes. And it's like I never told them that I like these things, but I started wearing them out a little bit, and I've never had compliments of people saying like, oh, you look good in that, or like, hey, I like that on you, or whatever. And I'm like, holy shit, like this is me being more me than ever. And then there are people that are actually like validating that, and I'm like, what the fuck, you know? And this is like at work, like, you know, and I work in a mental health like treatment environment, so it's kind of more on the traditional end, to be honest. Like I work in Southern California, so it is way more diverse than a whole lot of places, and a lot more lenient and a lot more understanding. And especially where I work, they really promote diversity, racially, you know, equality of all sorts of differences around that you see. They want the community reflected in the work site. And, you know, we live in a community where there are a lot of, like, LGBTQ plus people, a lot of gender, you know, different genders, a lot of different, you know, diverse cultures and races and ethnicities and backgrounds and nationalities. That's where we live in Southern California. I mean, yeah, there are the majority cultures, but we do live in a society where, unless you just only stick in a certain little box, if you're out and about, you're going to run into these types of people, all these types of people on a regular basis. If you're working with the general public and you're not like in some niche area and you're just out in diverse communities, it's around you and you can find it and you can be in it and you can communicate and mingle with those people easily, I would say. I mean, I do it easily, but I don't know, I'm kind of comfortable with it. But you've got the hipsters, you've got the gays, you've got the all kinds of different people, a lot of hippies, a lot of executives, a lot of like, you know, people who work kind of like, you know, their own like kind of small businesses, or you know, like landscaping type stuff, or working in restaurants. Delivery is a big thing nowadays too. A lot of different cultures who are like refugee cultures, or cultures that are like immigrant cultures, or undocumented people who might live here, and people who have come, you know, for different reasons, you know, military culture. There's a lot in the city where I live, and, you know, near the border of Mexico. And then we're actually up near, like, when I go up to LA, so I kind of drive that range on occasion, and I skip Orange County altogether because it's like the where did that come from kind of thing. Like, it's the most like strict kind of conservative looking weird place to me, and I'm like, I don't want to stop there. But everywhere else is pretty cool, you know, San Diego and LA and all that. Like, I like it all. No, it's not completely perfect. No, it's not completely diverse. No, not everybody gets along. No, not everybody's like understanding, but I'd have to really just say I understand a lot about kind of what I'm going through more and more. It's not easy for me, but I'm just trying to figure it out, you know. But that's me when it comes to that kind of stuff. That might be all TMI, but we'll see. I'll see if I post this. But if you heard it all, thanks for listening. Happy Pride, everybody.